I have always been fascinated by how geography shapes our perception, how our memories are always linked back to landmarks. Whether it's the smell of your grandparents' attic, the seats you had at your first concert, or the layout of your bedroom. No matter how much has changed over the years, these images linger in our subconsciousness. But this video isn't about any of those memories. This video is about a very specific memory, and a specific landmark, and a specific time, embedded in the lost chapters of our local history. As a kid, I was obsessed with pinpointing an event or a place that encapsulated or explained the atmosphere, the vibe, for lack of a better term, of where I lived. But on January 25th, 2018, I think it struck me.
There it is. Jones Bridge.
On January 25th, 2018, at around 1 p.m. in the afternoon, the old Jones Bridge fell.
So as you can see, the cylinders that are holding the bridge up on the Fulton side are still completely upright. It's just the actual bridge, or half of a bridge, that has fallen. And it seems that the National Park Service, they've already put up buoys, just warning people, nice bright orange, the universal color of danger.
So you're probably wondering, what is so great about this bridge, huh? Well, surprisingly, a lot of things.
So, in the early 1800s, a guy named John Martin bought land on both sides of the river. And it turns out that that stretch of river marked the boundary between Gwinnett County and what was then Milton County, which is now North Fulton. And so John Martin, he built a house on the Gwinnett side and then operated a ferry going back and forth between both the Gwinnett side and the Milton side.
Turns out, ferries were a hugely profitable business back then, which is why you see so many roads in the metro area named after them. Back then, there was a need for ferries, since this was before the creation of Lake Lanier, and the river was more prone to flooding. Nowadays, you can simply walk across this stretch of the river if you don't mind 50-degree water.
So by 1904, the ferry was discontinued in favor of a bridge, the Jones Bridge. And the Jones Bridge was named after the son-in-law of John Martin, who had inherited the land. And so this bridge was a truss bridge, which was a model that was very popular in the 19th and early 20th centuries because they were very economical. They were very cheap to make, which explains why the Jones Bridge was only in operation for about 30 years. There are several disputes over when exactly the bridge closed. The CRNRA Superintendent Bill Cox, among others, reports that it closed in 1922 due to it being rendered obsolete by a nearby concrete bridge funded by the government. However, there is no documentation of any such bridge existing nearby the Jones Bridge, as to which it would pose some sort of threat. However, other sources say that it closed in 1930 due to over 20 years of weathering and rust,
as well as the stock market crash the previous year. In fact, the following year, Milton County went bankrupt and had to be merged with Fulton County, becoming the most populous county in the state. For the next decade, the bridge sat completely abandoned. It didn't really bother anybody, and nobody bothered it.
Now, that was until when, according to myth, a group of men began dismantling the bridge on the Gwinnett side.
They claimed to be contractors under the state's orders, and with FDR's New Deal programs in full swing, this wasn't too far-fetched. It is suspected that they were using the bridge to sell as scrap metal, which descendants of the Jones family claims reached all the way to Charleston, South Carolina.
But by the time the authorities got there, it was already too late. Well, Kind of. You see, they only really got to half of the bridge. And so that's why you have half of a bridge sitting abandoned for 70-something years.
Now, whether or not these stories are true are up for debate, as there are aerial photos from the 1950s and 60s that show the bridge fully intact.
We do know that it was already in its half state when Jimmy Carter signed the legislation to move forward with the CRNRA, the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Center, giving Jones Bridge a whole park to call its own in 1978. That was around the first time that my mom first moved into the area growing up.
I spent many times in elementary school going in the 50-degree water and having a good time in the summer. In high school, that was our local hangout. I had friends that used to climb up on the bridge and jump off. I was never brave enough to do so.
That last part is especially true. To this day, local teens are jumping off abandoned bridges like Jones Bridge and the extremely popular Settles Bridge, despite the incidents of drownings, broken bones, and sometimes even death. So while a piece of history will be lost forever, I think we're all better off because of it. And the most important thing is that Jones Bridge lives on in our memories.
I don't know what that is over there. It looks almost like an alligator. It's a big pipe.